I forgot that I had the mic muted for a while. What's up, everybody? It's CS9, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the last part, the main character, Ryunosuke, has been put on trial for a murder he did not commit. And in this part, well, we're closer to clearing Ryunosuke's name, but first we gotta put this Englishwoman on the witness stand. So that's what we're gonna do. (22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants, Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimony. And I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Jezziel Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. That's our detective friend. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Actually, it's been a week since I've last played this, so I'm going to check the court record and just go over this real fast. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Let me check this. Okay, a photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. Okay. There's the sketch of the kitchen with the detective's job on the back. Here is the table. A record of dental work on the day of the murder. The victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. Mr. John Wilson. What does it say? But that just the same thing. Okay. Alright, I'm caught up. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikatoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Excuse me. Which is why I firmly believe we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I want to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor from UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. I don't have my phone on me, so I can't look up what that means. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Those old fossils know what. Before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. November 22nd, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke and Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm very sorry. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Ugh, sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down on our nation our nation founders? Flounders, I think is the word they're looking for. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Jesial Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! Okay. Yeah, that fits the profile pretty well. She's a swan. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea? Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. I'm sorry, I read that last line wrong. Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hasunaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival, but my true... Yes, we know about you already. Inspector Hasunaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Okay, so she's speaking English, but because this is... they're all speaking Japanese, but we're here... But we're reading English because... And now she's speaking English, but to everyone in the courtroom, it's gibberish because they don't understand it. Does she not speak Japanese, like, at all? How long has she been here, studying here, without knowing the language? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Okay, so he's speaking English to her. And she's speaking English back to him. The lady says her name is Jesial Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the delicate tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. Haha, you'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. Did I say classes or clashes? I'm pretty sure I said clashes. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says yes. This could take some time. Even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? Apparently she can, because she's able to respond to that pretty quickly. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. I don't think she has eyes. I don't think her model has eyes. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Witness testimony. A frightening and sorrowful sight. Okay, see, the thing is that I have no idea what that says. I speak English. Well, whether or not I speak English is debatable, so never mind. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Well, that's kind of a lie, considering the fact that, I mean, we found a gun on the floor, and another, there had to have been 2 guns. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. That is my one problem with this game thus far. It's still very early in the game. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's still very early in the game, so it could still be fixed. But I just don't like how Ryunosuke just says, yes, instead of, you know, the typical, objection, hold it, take that. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, a black-hearted blackguard. And look at, this Snow White angel. Okay, this is it just me or is this starting to sound a little racist? I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. I mean, she was dining with the guy who was killed, so yeah, she's pretty fucking involved. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Bullshit! I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Under the hat? In that huge dress? Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Arrgh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress and prove it. I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. I agree. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull our testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Alright. Press everything! After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it? You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? I'm not an expert in British history, but I'm pretty sure that's not true. No. No! A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. Can I take another look at that? When was the appointment exactly? Like, when did it start? I'm starting to think I may have missed it. Because I was just too impatient. Nah, it just says what happened. It didn't say what time he got there. I've never had a tooth pulled. So I have no idea how long you have to be in there. Although with how bad my dental health is, it's probably going to be pretty soon. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report as was submitted earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's statement, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. Yes. He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hada clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. What Miss Brett was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. I mean, to be fair, she would have had to have been. Otherwise, she would have been like, well, why can't we have lunch at noon, like normal? And then it would have been explained to her that, well, I have an appointment and... yeah. It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying incidents. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? I mean, he could have had water. That's right. Other than some carbonated water, which I'm not sure if that counts. Just water? Carbonated water. Not sure if that counts. The professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the dinners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. Hold on. Where's the other glass? Even in this photo... Well, then again, we can't see the other thing. There's only one glass of water. Can we have that added to the testimony, please? It's very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, The significance of this statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. I'm gonna press this just to see what they say. I know I have to present this here, but I'm gonna press everything just to see what the dialogue is. So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't! I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beef steak, that was for you, Miss Brett? The lady says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True, come to think of it. The first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. This face. This is a meme face right here. Somehow I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now. Because you never know what might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. 1 second, it's very hot in here. I'm going to spray myself. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Yes. I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over and say hello. Please, don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. I mean, to someone who speaks a very, very, very different language like English, yeah. But from what I understand, English is probably actually the hardest language to learn if you don't live in a country where English is the primary language. English is the future. We must all speak English. I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever or only in the presence of a beautiful woman, Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. What? Yes, I still had some coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Yes. Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. And like I said, there's no point in repeating the assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time, the highly suspicious lady on the stand. And then the objection, that will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. I didn't see the comma. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Yes. It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? Just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for any further probing into the matter. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will. But if you're going to continue this preposterous claim that that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. Ugh. The lady wishes to point out that, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. Not get her out of there, I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. Excuse me one second, I'm gonna mute the mic so I can make disgusting sinus noises. Sorry, I don't talk. It's always Ace Attorney where I wind up talking the most. Could you at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you? So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with a professor at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out total unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform. Black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her No, I see a blatant one. The first thing you do is press her on any of her statements that seems even slightly off to you. Do that and an opening will present itself, I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Alright. Yep. And here we go. Yes! Me basically. That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Ugh. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah! You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutiae? What possible difference does the presence of or absence of a glass make on the case? Now that was an objection. Minutiae, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Oh, he's starting to get suspicious. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. How? What? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she says. Good gracious! So she's admitting that there's a place she could hide a glass of, a wine glass. Sorry. Okay, so it's just fucking swan feathers on the back. I thought it was like just this massive freaking thing in the back. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable young beautiful woman of mischief? What? No, no, no. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Does no one see a problem with this? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to... I'm sorry, can I read that again? This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. Shouldn't that be illogical for it to make any real sense? Because basically you're saying, like, yeah, everything he's saying makes sense, and it's perfectly logical, makes 100% sense, which is why it's confusing. But in the end, it comes to nothing. Facts and logic. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. I'm sorry, 1 second. I gotta mute the... Sorry. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance, it's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hasanaga? Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Jezebel Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? You didn't. No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order! 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 What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Professor Ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now you have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Ahem, ahem, ahem. He sounds like me after I play this game for 45 minutes. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary. You want to explain this to me? Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is a photograph of that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Hold on. Immediately after the shooting? Why is the glass already in there? It's see-through. But she could have easily just, like, hidden it under the table. That wouldn't have been hard. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search this lady's handbag. It's not in the court record yet, so I can't search it further. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Well, you said immediately after the shooting. It was in her hand, like, underneath the table. Like, I'm doing exactly what she could have done with the gun. I mean, with my controller right now. It's not hard. There's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruto-san. Order! Order! Inspector Hasunaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. I want to take a closer look at this. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. Hold on, I want to see this. It looks like it's only see-through on, like, one side, really. And even then, why is the wine glass already in there? Yeah, like, she could have easily hidden it just by keeping the mesh side, like, up against her person. Because it seems like only one side is see-through. And again, why is the glass already in there? I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion, that the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat. The weak are meat, while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content, from the inside of your cell. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to make more sinus noises. I'm very sorry. A fact you can chew... I've already read that. Didn't we know up in the court record? This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dreams of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. No, there is one. The glass was apparently put in the bag before the shooting. Why? I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Wait, Your Excellency! Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question. This is blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hasanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail. I'm also noticing that there's like a bull tattoo on his wrist. Don't know what that's about. It's right here. Present. Just here. I feel sure that that area, this area, there's a significant... What? That's the... Okay. Now I'm clueless. Oh, it's his hand. Okay. Always try to see the whole... I see the significance now. I see the significance. I see what I have to point out now. I have to point out the hand. The court should be given consideration to the fact that this man is an amateur. One more chance, please. Well, I suppose he is just a callous student lawyer with little sense of protocol on these matters. I'm starting to feel insulted here. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hazanaga submitted before. Yada, yada, yada. Right here. Yes. Okay, now I'm clueless. Okay, I'm doing this. Because clearly there's something I'm missing here. What exactly am I missing here? Because I've already pointed out the wine glass, which is already in the bag immediately after the shooting. So for whatever reason, it was put in there before the shooting. And here we have proof that he's already dead. And this was... I don't understand. What is it I'm missing here? What is it here that I don't see? Don't fucking tell me that it's just, oh no, it is the wine glass. I just hit the wrong area. You know what? I'm about to do it again. I can save scum. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail which you alluded. Is it this bold print here? I'm gonna go with this. Yes. Again. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna load. Hold up. Hold on. The only thing I can think of is this just random tattoo here. I don't know why that would be of any significance, though. It is! What the fuck? It's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description. Am I missing something? I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Hold on. Was I supposed to notice something? Hold on. I still don't get it. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. It looks like a bull. So apparently that was the thing I was supposed to point out, but I don't know why. However, Prosecutor Ouchie points out unless a firm connection to the case has been shown. I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Can I see this again? Hold on. I'm still mad about this. A photograph taken... He said, like, right after. I mean, he said that his first instinct was to just take a photo of the scene, and this is what it showed. That's what he said. But apparently we're just going to ignore that. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? I gotta check something else here, because I have no idea what this means at all. I see it now. I see it now. He was eating the steak. To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. I thought that... I'll be honest with you, I thought this was like some kind of blood mark, or just a tattoo or something. I'm not sure if tattoos were a thing in Britain at the time. I didn't think anything of it. I was so focused on this and the fact that he said that the picture was taken immediately after the shooting. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the witness's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. Neither did I. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. To be fair, there's barely any color in her skin at all. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Yes. What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would be inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How? You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? It's right here.
Yes.
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. Ah! This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ah! Excuse me. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection.
I can't see a burn like that lasting all that long. Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hasanaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, and, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnaval, I can testify to that without hesitation. You know, I did... One thing that I said in the last stream, and didn't really mention this stream because I wasn't sure when it was going to be brought up. Why is he backwards in his seat? Why was he turned around? There was a part of me that figured like, oh, the police just turned it around so they could get a better look at him. But you're a detective, not a waiter! The only thing I can suggest is that the burn happened after he died. But if the photo was taken right after the shot was heard, as he said, though it's apparently completely irrelevant, his hand was already down. I'm very confused. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hasanaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor was carelessly laid his rests on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it, Ryunosuke. Do you think... Oh, we're coming to the end. Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once! The victim was killed by a gunshot! That's right! That's absolutely right, Your Excellency! This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp of the facts. No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it is you has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case has turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible! I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency! The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Now she can speak Japanese! Okay. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. I didn't mean to open the court record. Ah! Miss Brett! You speak Japanese? Why was she hiding this? Why the fuck was she hiding this? Well, of course I do. I am studying your country, after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? Based on the reaction, I think Hasanaga's surprised too. My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Wow! So much for helping relations between countries. Just insults everyone in the room. Okay. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you are so graciously afforded us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Just cracking my knuckles real fast. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the man burnt his wrists like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast. Well, no, there's two. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Poison? But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that's the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted it. Too late! Not at all, not at all. It is a delight to merely hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. No, I miss quite a lot. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? So he's Apollo's descendant. Ancestor. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the examination. I'm sorry, I just noticed it. Is that, like, vodka? No, it's probably sake. Never mind. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! Haha, what fun. You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. She legit has no eyes! I saw it! She has no eyes! He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Well, I can't. That should have been a no then, anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast.
Yes!
A glass that was already in your purse. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although? Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. It kind of looks empty here. But it definitely looks like there's something in it here. It's not full. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in the courtroom, it means bless you. Okay. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem reports showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Except for the fact that we don't do a thorough analysis of the victim.
Yes.
There was no thorough analysis of the victim. The detective just looks over the body and is just like, well, I see a gunshot in his chest, so it's gotta be it. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma? Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. Ah! I'm sorry, I think I zoned out for a little bit there, even though I was saying it. Okay, so that's what we were going with. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Poison! Oh, that's just a shadow. I saw something by the glass and I'm just like, oh, well, that's gotta be... I'm sorry. Sorry. Without leaving a trace? If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there's always a telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hasanaga? Except, no, it was made abundantly clear in the beginning of this trial that they don't do like an intense thorough investigation. They just look over the body and guess based on what they see. As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true, but maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. Poison. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a bit to... Takatsushi Ouchie will cut down any who dare cast such aspirations. Aspiration, whatever. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. Poison! We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Unfortunately, we don't have... I mean, there's always... we just say poison. We could always just say poison, and then we'd have to look into that a little bit further. But as of this moment, there are no signs of poison. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes.
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes place in a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Okay. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try and preserve the crime scene. I wish I could go over, because... okay, I don't remember every single detail, but I saw a Let's Play of... excuse me. Of, what is it? Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton. And they showed this off, where multiple people are on the witness stand at once, and you can just kind of switch between them when someone does something like that. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand. Okay. This lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Now, how do I act on that? What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But would that mean I have to find a way? There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hasanaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough. I suppose once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. So how do I go about changing the target? Well, I'm just gonna press inferior. What do you mean by that? I think I already went through all that.
Wait.
See, right there. How do I do it? I see it. I see it. How do I do anything with it? That's the court record. I think I saved. Yes! There it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? There we go. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by turning the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch a person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then? So first I should move the marker across with blah 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 and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with A and see what's on his mind.
Wait.
I'm pressing the D-pad! I am pressing the D-pad. There it goes.
Excuse me.
Yeah! What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court. What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved with the case. Inspector Hasunaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. She's not happy about that. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hasunaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? It's the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. In the time coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. I want to take a look at that. Miss Brett. Let me take a look at that. I want to see it. The liquid inside doesn't move. I can't find anything out of place. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little less in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke! You can't do that! For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. Have her drink it! Have her drink it! Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. How do we have her drink it, though? Can you confirm that this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel. You may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem. No idea, yada, yada, yada. I'm just gonna... Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, so that does the same thing. Yada, yada. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I was just looking to... Because I think I accidentally saved at some point. Is there, like, a... I guess not. I'm gonna save here. Alright. Please do show me!
Yes.
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Oh, he seems angry. The waiter seems angry. Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There should be a one. There's only person who could have done it. Jezebel Brett. It was you.
Objection.
This is outrageous. To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection.
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem. If I may, I will silence you forever with... Oh, okay. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. Have her drink it. Just be like, well, if it's not poisoned, why don't you have a sip? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not? Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation. He drank some. He drank some and that's why he's coughing up blood. He's poisoned. I don't believe it. Excuse me. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could not find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. Yeah, in this country! In this country! But we keep going on and on about how another country is involved in this! Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself, so there is one. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think the cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience it has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to this court at this point? Just one question. Miss Brett, would you care for a sip? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Shouldn't she be holding her dress when she does that? Or maybe I'm missing something. She has a hold it, but Ryunosuke doesn't. Please, wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Sasuto Migotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Migotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be continued! Alright, 15 minutes left. Do I keep going? Do I keep going? Because it's probably going to be roughly around this much time for part 3. I'm going to have to say no. I'm sorry. There's some stuff that I have to prepare for. I am going somewhere in the next couple days. And I have to get ready for that. And I have not started doing that at all. So I'm sorry. I'm going to have to call this early. So... But I will be back in time for the next scheduled stream, which is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, this time the second game, this Saturday at 2 p.m. And we will be back with more Great Ace Attorney next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Alright, I will see you guys then.